Yes, I think Jordan Peterson's conclusions are terrific. His foundation is weak. I think that the edifice he has built on his presuppositions, I would love to get together with him one day because I love his...
I will see if I can make it happen.
Could you do that?
Yeah, my
it
pleasure.
would be an honor because I mean, the way he was treated at Cambridge, you know, and his plan to go there is totally unlikable. I mean, an educational institution to do that to a man of his repute and his capability.
You know, just briefly, the saddest part about that is, you probably know, I was on tour with him for the year. So I was with him when he found out he was getting the fellowship at Cambridge. It was the happiest I've ever seen him. And the idea that, putting aside why they did it, he has spread the ideas that you're talking about here, even if you don't agree with his methods completely. Yeah. He has done more to spread these ideas across the world in the last 2 years than anyone on earth, I would argue. And they decided, no, you can't study
And I
here.
think he is outstanding. You know, I couldn't stand up to his intellectual prowess. He's a man of incredible ability and courage. And he's from Toronto, you know, and I'm from Toronto, actually. I'm from Delhi. I moved to Toronto. My family's all in Toronto. My wife's from Toronto. I have a very great respect for Jordan Peterson. But let me give you an illustration. Yeah. In Ohio, Columbus, Ohio, there's a building called the Wexner Center for the Arts, supposedly the first postmodern building. And I asked the person, what is a postmodern building? I know what postmodern philosophy is. What's a postmodern building? He said, well, the architect said if life itself has no purpose, why should our buildings have any purpose? And so he built it with no particular purpose in mind, you know, stairways that go nowhere.
I was going to say, where does the elevator go?
And so he said, what do you think of it? I said, I have one question. Did you do the same with the foundation? You cannot fool with the foundation. You can fool with the infrastructure. And so to me, when Peterson talks of absolutes, when Peterson talks of right and wrong, not so much right and left, but right and wrong, his conclusions are very good. But the only reason I think those conclusions stand, if there is an ultimate eternal purpose for life itself. Otherwise, it's just one ideology against another, especially, dare I suggest, because of a pluralistic society in which we live. People start from different points in the beginning of the argument, and that to me is where I think there is the weakness. But his conclusions and his arguments I find very persuasive and very likable.
If ultimately the conclusions are right, let's say, and you know, you can argue about the little methods to get there, do you think that can be enough in and of itself?
Had you not used the word enough, I would have said yes. Do you think that's valuable? Do you think that's a good way to at least have a culture?
I can see why you're not going to go with enough. Yeah. Okay, I got it.
But the foundation part of it is, to me, indispensable, because that's what you have built your theory on. However, for coexistence, for respectability, for civility, I think it's good, and I think that's why I enjoy talking with somebody like you. Even disagreement can be allowed, provided you don't get disagreeable in the process. And I think Peterson is very impressive that way. I'd love to talk to him on why he has not moved in that one step. See, Dennis Prager, for example. Dennis Prager and I have had several dialogues.
You're going through my greatest hits over here.
Great man, funny, articulate, intellectual. But we do agree on one thing as a starting point, that the ultimate pursuit of life for Prager and for me was communion with God. And the starting point is that God has a moral law at work in this universe. When you start from that, even if you come up with some divergent discussions on who this God is, you can have intelligent debate. But if you start purely from an autocracy of good and bad, then you run into a problem in a pluralistic culture.